So, welcome to the Easter. Well, when this comes out, it'll be a couple days after Easter. But you and me and Hal are recording this midweek Hal, the non-paranormal part of the From the Shadows podcast on Easter afternoon, Easter morning for you, Easter afternoon for me. Right?
That's right.
Did you just get home from church?
Just now, yeah.
I did a little bit ago. And the great thing is after we record these, I think we're going to record a couple episodes. There'll be a big Easter dinner down there for that I didn't have to really do much for.
Yeah, well, hey.
Doesn't get better than that, right?
Well, I mean, I guess it could. $1 million win lottery ticket or something be okay too.
Hey, the lottery tickets, God, what's the Powerball as we record this?
Some dude, I was going to say the Mega Millions guy won 1.2 billion or million and 1.2 billion, and he's going to get about 278 million because the government steals it all. I mean, they tax him.
Speaking of which, Friday I went and this is my long weekend at the post office. So I had Friday, Saturday off, and Friday was Christy's birthday. So we celebrated her birthday during the day and night, but I had to go get my taxes done. So the only good thing about taxes is my buddy, one of my good friends, owns the H&R Block that I go to, so I get to sit and talk to him for a little bit. But I always walk out of there. The post office will not take out, from our office, will not take out the city taxes because they say our office isn't big enough. So no matter what
your little city has a city tax.
Oh yeah, it's big. It's a big tax too. It's it's probably not a whole lot more than any other place its size, but it's a brutal system there. And here's what happened to me. And I don't know if I've ever told this story, but they won't take it out. So every year I owe city tax. And as my own little form of protest, because they won't, and it only hurts me, it doesn't hurt anybody else. I never pay it at one time. I always pay it, make a monthly payment late, which in hindsight, I should pay it early. So then when it comes to tax time, I've paid it off, but I always pay it late, except for last year. So of course, they put a charge on me for it, for a late fee and whatever else. And I always end up paying more.
The city does.
The city does. Okay.
How many thousands of people live in this city?
Between 11 and 13. But I don't live in the city. I just work in the city. Okay. So they're taxing me, and I don't, because I live out in the country. All right. I don't pay city tax to anybody. We pay school tax to where we live. But because I work in the city, then I have to pay city income tax. And so I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, I went into UDF for coffee in the morning. I got gas for my mail truck, and I see a police officer I know who now is the chief of police. Mm-hmm. He says, "Hey, what's going on?" Talks to me a little bit, and I go out, I'm on my mail route, and probably about 5 hours later, he comes out and finds me on my mail route. And it's a part where I'm driving, so he has to stop, and I jump out thinking he's looking for somebody. And he hands me something, and he goes, "Hey," he goes, "it jogged my memory this morning when I saw you," but he goes, "I got 2 summons for you for unpaid income tax." So he hands me these summons that had been on his desk for like 2 years.
And they said you need to pay. How do they know? First of all, how do they know you're still working there? And second, I know how they know what your income is.
Well, he knows. Well, because
I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about the government. Don't tell me the police officer is a bigger tax collector than I thought, but it's none of his business.
Well, the city felt slighted. The city knows we owe as soon as you file the federal income tax. They get a notice of how much I owe.
Okay.
Or whatever. Because I get it too. And he just, the city said I didn't pay him And I think it was like from 2015, 2016 or something. So this must have been 2017. And so the office of the tax collector, files the paperwork to get a summons to make everybody that doesn't pay appear in court. And then what I was told afterwards, he has this huge stack of papers on his desk of people they can't possibly serve all the people that are late on their taxes.
Yeah, okay. Some of them moved away, some of them worked there for one day.
And it just because I happened to see him at UDF that morning, it jogged his memory that there was a couple on there for me. Well, really, there's not, because I paid them. I just always paid them late, and we were already into the next year, which they would have been paid up. And I said, look, man, I paid those. You just need, he goes, nah. He goes, once this is done, he goes, you got to go to court and you got to figure it out. He goes, I don't have time for it.
You say, dude, we are innocent until proven guilty.
Well,
you're just making me mad. You're just making me mad on Easter. You know what I mean? Giving to Caesar what is Caesar's. That's why one of the reasons why they strung up Jesus. So I'm glad they didn't string you up down there.
So anyway, of course, I go to court. I don't even go into court. I go to check, and the judge, his secretary, she's like, look, just go down to the courthouse. You don't need to come to court. You said you paid it. Go see what mistake they made. Well, you go to City Hall, and of course,
they won't talk to you.
No, they admit then they made the mistake. That we show that you paid them, but we didn't go down and tell the police officer.
Well, they're supposed to all that they didn't rescind the summons, which is in the state of Missouri they've got 40 by law. They've got, I think, within 24, 48 hours they have to do it. So you should have retained counsel. And dude, you can't be harassed like that.
Well,
because what happens is if you don't push back enough, they never correct the deficiency. You've got to get the chief in trouble, so he leans on City Hall to get these girls who didn't do their job in trouble. Otherwise, the circle never breaks. You know what I mean?
That circle is never.
So you are letting your fellow mankind down.
I am
by not holding these people accountable.
I should have. I'm sorry, man. I didn't see, here was the problem. That was before you and I started doing this and talking, or else I might have been urged to go and, shake my fist at him a little bit more. But I was just glad I didn't have to go to court. But it was a little disheartening that I'm on the mail route and they're serving me a summons to go to court for something I didn't do. That's the way it goes. Now I try to pay it a little bit earlier, so it's never fun though.
So nobody likes to win.
What's that?
You let the man win.
Let the man win. Well, I'll remember that next time. I just thought, man, what great detective work that, I'm probably one of the easiest people to find in the whole town. And it took seeing me at UDF in the morning over, getting a cup of coffee to remind him to come serve me.
How did we even get on the tax thing?
I don't know. I don't even know how we got on the tax thing. But I do want to ask you, and by the time this comes out, it'll be a week afterwards. But man, what about the bridge? The boat hitting the bridge in Baltimore.
What happens?
Wow. And you know what really, after hearing that story and the particulars about it, is those poor guys working on the bridge were on their break, so they were in their car.
I don't understand if they were able to warn the traffic and shut the bridge down, they couldn't call in the radio out there and tell those dudes to drive off the bridge.
They literally, I saw this morning on the news, they literally had a minute to get the traffic shut down. And I don't know that bridge, because some bridges have people, they have stuff at each end, like a little guard shack or something. I don't know if this did or not or what, but they said they literally seconds had to get people from going across. And those guys were just sitting in their trucks taking a break. So I wonder
what they get for not standing out there with a freaking sign. They might have survived had they been out on their feet.
Well, that's what I wonder.
Killed them.
Well, of course, if you're in your truck or car or whatever, and you go in the water, it's got to be. I mean, did you ever have to try to rescue anybody that had gone into a pond or a river or anything like that while you were on duty as a sheriff? Because isn't that? I mean, if you're inside the vehicle,
roll the window down, dude.
Just what if you can't?
Roll the fucking window down.
What if you can't? I mean, isn't the pressure so bad on there as you're sinking that it's hard to get the window down?
You don't think the power window's going to pull it down, or what don't you think is going to happen? Like poor Mitch McConnell's sister-in-law dying in that Tesla that she was able to talk on the phone for 8 minutes about drowning, but she couldn't put the window down.
I don't know. Will it go down? I don't know. I have no clue.
I don't see why. I mean, why wouldn't it? It's electric. It ain't going to kill it might kill the engine, but if your key's on, as long as the current's made, it's going to keep going down. I seen some people in the Houston flood, the last Houston flood in a Tesla, and they were driving. It was past the mirrors on the side of the door. I mean, it was up to the windows, and they were driving through it. Because it's electric, it doesn't quit.
That's a good question. I was always told that once you got under the water, the pressure was so much that you couldn't get the window down. And I don't know, would you think of using?
I don't know. I was told my whole life when I had cowboy boots, I wore cowboy boots when I was a kid, and they'd say, well, if you ever get in the water, those are going to fill with water and suck you down to the bottom.
Oh, the cowboy boots?
Yeah, that's what they used to say.
Here, I thought you said if you were wearing cowboy boots.
Once they fill with water, it's neutral. They're neutral buoyant. They don't, you know what I mean?
Or wouldn't the water just take them right off of you?
I don't know. The problem is what people think and what really happens. There's two different things,
Two different things. Anyway, I mean, it was just amazing how that, first of all, how big that ship is, that ship was.
They're pretty big.
And Christy works in international brokerage. And that is, she goes, yeah, those are the ships that she would have to go, they come into port. She'd have to go clear them. Coming and going and stuff, and I'm just like, I can't even. Did you hear the clearance it had in that part of the river? That boat,
like 2 or 3 feet is all from the bottom, right?
Like less than 2 feet.
Yeah, I heard it was that way, but I don't know. That's why they have a professional driver taking it in and out.
That's just crazy. That's crazy. I don't know. That's the best part though was as soon as it happened, then of course there was conspiracy theories that the government wanted to kill the economy by shutting down, by having that bridge collapse and shutting down the 9th most busy port in America.
It might be 9th, but it's like 10% of what the port of Long Beach does.
Long Beach is way more active.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So they were talking about, cutting down the shipping. It does 40,000 tons a month or something like that. But Houston does like 400,000 a month.
Well, I also thought the rationale behind that is the current administration's trying to get reelected. Why would you want to shut down the economy and hurt the economy?
I don't know. They're bringing goddamn. Do you really want to go down there? I mean, look, they're bringing, 500,000 illegals every month across the border. What do you think that's going to do? They've jacked up, they've done so many things wrong, but the problem is that most people in government can't do a good conspiracy, you know what I mean, anymore. We don't have the workforce to build nuclear reactors, and we don't have the workforce to do a good JFK type conspiracy anymore, you know what I mean? Because they would be called into some nondescript location and told, hey, you're going to do some crazy shit, and they'll be on Twitter or Instagram or something talking about it.
I just came out of a meeting.
They'll be on Reddit saying, hey, I just come out of a meeting, and they're going to pay me out of the black budget to do some crazy shit to collapse the world, and I don't know if I should do it because...
Like run a poll
because they've got there's only 3 of us in the room, and we're all white guys, and I don't feel like it's a good plan because we don't have enough diversity.
Oh God,
that's what they'd be doing or something. That's probably why they got all these crazy hires now. They can't find a good old fashioned, subversive, right? You can't even find a good subversive.
Are you saying they can't find a good old fashioned white guy to do it? Is that what you're saying?
Well, they won't hire him. They won't hire him. That's the problem.
Listen,
they're
I don't think
out there. Hey,
don't you remember
Blazing Saddles? Hey, in Blazing Saddles, when they're trying to hire the people to terrorize the town, remember?
Oh yeah, we don't need no stinking badges.
Right.
I don't. For the record, I don't think Sirhan was a good old white guy, right? I don't think he was.
Did he really do it?
I don't know. Or wasn't Rosie Greer? Was it Rosie Greer that was standing there beside Kennedy and tackled Sirhan to the ground?
He probably planted the gun or what?
Oh
no, I don't know.
Come on.
I know Jesse Jackson was next to MLK on the balcony, and he's got some legs out of that deal, didn't he? How did the dude know MLK was in that room and when he was coming out?
Who knows? I don't know. There's all kinds of, all kinds of good stuff, man. There's all kinds of good stuff. But I just in this day and age, it's like everything is a conspiracy, and it's like, no, it just looked to me like something happened, and the guy. I mean, do you think the guy really wants to crash the ship? I don't think so. And I don't think anybody really wants to crash it.
The people that don't know, have never tried to load a John boat on a trailer or a bass boat on a trailer. It had wind blowing that night and lose power, and you're going to go where the wind takes you. Now, I know he dropped the anchor and tried to do some shit, and the power came back on for briefly, but Well,
you can't, I mean, imagine trying to stop that thing.
That dude Newton that came up with all those damn theories, okay? They work just as good with a 1,000-container ship as they do with a guinea and feather tube. You know what I mean?
An object of motion will remain in motion.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Anybody that's ever rode a public train? I'm going to have to gear this toward public transportation people because I was on public transportation in Europe last week. Okay. Anybody that's ever stood there and held on that strap, surrounded by some fat people, when that train comes into a stop, they've been watching it the whole time you are. They know that stop's coming up, yet they still can't keep from fucking running into you when the train stops. Boom! So it's just like that on a bigger scale.
So essentially that cargo ship was just like a bunch of overweight people hanging on.
Guy that started going. I mean, you played football. Sometimes in big old heavy things get to going, and they're going to go whether the motor's running, the power's on, or anything else. You know what I mean?
Well, that was the theory behind my success as a running back.
Perry.
Cool. Yeah. Speaking of Europe, we have a really good fan over in. I think he's in.
Do they send us money?
He did not,
is that really making really good?
Well, they follow us, they listen, and I think he's from Brussels. I think he's where he's from.
Yes,
or at least that's what it says.
That's what his VPN says.
But we got the. He messaged me a little bit. He messages me from time to time, and I said something about because we have had people inquire as to whether we would ever think about going to Europe and doing a tour.
I was just there. You should have had the Howler stop by.
I said, I think we're going to need some more fans that we can make sure we can sell tickets.
No, we just need the right ones. All you need.
The right one.
Yeah, come on, man. You just need the right one.
The right one.
It's quality over quantity.
It's quality over quantity. I was actually talking to somebody on Friday in town, stopped me and was asking me about the podcast, and I said, yeah, we've talked numerous times about doing a live show. The problem is I don't know where we would do it because I don't know where the best place for for the people that want to come. I don't know that we could do a live show in Columbus, Ohio, or in St. Louis, Missouri, or whatever, and have 100 people come. Do you? I don't know. I don't know.
I wouldn't even know.
It's very, we're
You're
not
supposed
like
to track that with your.
I do. I sort of track it, but I don't know. It's so hard to say. But I think it'd be fun to do a live show. I guess, I mean, to interact with the
you have to
people.
do it in conjunction with one of the things we're already at, like Monster Fest or something like that.
Or do it in conjunction with another podcast that's a lot more popular than us.
Speak for yourself. I've got more than I can handle now with this one. I mean, I would hate to be Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan or Sasquatch Chronicles or something like yeah, of course. But I will, and that leads me to another thing I told you. I'm going to give our address to our P.O. box. So if you're a real fan, you're going to hear this, and this will give you the opportunity to actually send us something. I might put it up on the website, but I've had people ask like, "Hey, we can't find an address to send you guys stuff." Now I don't know what people would want to send us, but let's keep it clean. We don't want anything crazy.
I don't care.
Well, I know, but you don't care but it's going to come to the P.O. box where I work.
Yeah, and then really good stuff you'll tell me about.
Yeah, really good stuff. So our P.O. box it's P.O. Box 997, and then that's Bucyrus, Ohio. Bucyrus, Bucyrus, Ohio. Zip code's 44820. Let's see if anybody sends us anything. I don't care. It can be a drawing, a picture, a piece of memorabilia, something for good luck, T-shirt. I mean, me and the Holler both wear double extra large. If you got hey, there you go. If you got something you want to promote, send us T-shirts. We'll wear them. Hats, we'll wear them. Coffee mugs, we'll use them. Right. I mean, that's
anything. Yeah, I might even get a camera. We get somebody that needs me to wear something. I might get a camera for my machine here
and do a little.
I think we should. Yeah. Well, I already think we should do some spaces, but I think that's a time deal. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'll start doing a space or two on Twitter. I'll do a Twitter space if I get some interest.
I think so. We'll see. Somebody sends us something. We'll make sure to give them a shout out. Do a little live something. I know we wanted to start doing some live stuff on our Patreon page if we can find the time. But the last thing, because we're going to do something different. So for our super fans, we're going to record a couple here, put them in the can. You and I like to talk about current topics a lot of times, fresh stuff. But Phil, the producer, asked us to put some in the can because he's going to start a movie here. And when he starts a movie, it's a pretty intense situation for him time-wise. But I did want to ask, this was something else that happened last week, since we had the opening day of baseball season, and you're in the middle of Cardinal country, right? Or are you guys Royal fans?
Yeah, well, I mean, what's the Royals?
Kansas City. Right?
Do they have another team?
No.
The Chiefs, yeah.
We're talking baseball, not football.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's how irrelevant they are. We don't even know who the fuck they are. Once every 25 years, they win something.
George Brett. Now they got Bobby.
They're supposed to get, how many years ago was that? They're supposed to get a new stadium. So they're kind of relevant a little bit in my orb, but.
Well, so how about the news last week about Shohei Ohtani and his interpreter?
Gambling?
The gambling, the whole gambling thing.
Well, if they don't let
Pete Rose back
in by this week,
did you see
I don't believe how many people think it's his interpreter. You told me it's interpreter. Come on, dude. Well, you don't let your interpreter get in your fucking bank account like that for how many $7 million or whatever.
4.3. The thing that struck me is so the guy, the bookie, was under federal investigation, and they found that a payment or a couple payments were labeled as loan from Ohtani.
Huh?
Okay. And so this guy, they call him in and says, hey, yeah, I was in debt to this guy. My buddy lent me the money. Okay. And okay. Well,
because he knows he's in trouble, right? Because he knows.
Well, you can't.
Or that was their story that they came up with.
Well, I personally think that was the truth. I think the interpreter got in debt to the gambler, to the bookie, and he went to his buddy who just signed a $700 million contract, said, hey, man, can you help me out? And his buddy's and Ohtani's like, all right, man, just knock it off. Okay, I'll pay this money. Well, then Major League Baseball.
I'm sorry, but how many buddies you got that can loan you $4.5 million?
I think.
I mean, there's buddies and then there's buddies. I mean, come on.
Well, I don't have a buddy that signed a $700 million contract.
It doesn't matter. $1 million is $1 million.
But what I'm saying is I think that was the truth, to be honest with you. But that's still against baseball's rules, is that you can't, as a player, have any contact, even secondhand, with a bookmaker.
So they can't go to Vegas? These dudes can't go to Vegas?
They can go to Vegas. They can't bet on baseball. So I think.
Well, what was the bookie doing? Baseball games or something else?
Yes, it was baseball games, because I think there were 3 instances where there was a lot of money, like more money than usual, bet on games where Ohtani was pitching. And when they went back and dug into it, it lined up with games where going into the game, there was questions about his health and how good he would pitch or something. I think that's what there was. So I think this guy, this interpreter, is like, said, oh man, I know I got some inside.
You're a better man than me, because I'd say he's right there in it.
I don't think he was in it, other than he was trying to help out his buddy. Okay. Yeah. But then that became a problem, because you can't even do that. And so right away they go to the interpreter and say, all right, dude, you're falling on the sword, and we're going to make a big public display and fire you.
And in a couple of years, he'll come out with a book, and it'll be
maybe. But I do think Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson will be reinstated before the end of the summer. I mean, did you see the video that Pete did? He goes, if only I'd had an interpreter, I'd be in the Hall of Fame. So, I don't know. You're in the camp that you think he 100%.
I mean, if it was your police chief and a tax guy, he would be guilty until proven innocent. They would be dragging him through the room. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If it was my police chief, he'd have walked out. He'd have waited till he was pitching in Cleveland.
Out there with a summons and say, hey, I got a stack of these, but I'm going to screw with you because you're the only person with a freaking little legitimate job that we can find.
Oh, there you go. So I'd be curious what everybody's thoughts on that. My buddy that coaches Division I baseball, I left him. I was hoping to get some scoop from him, because there is, in the baseball world, they do stuff like that, travels, and they get the scoop. But he didn't answer, and so I just left him a message and said I had lost my interpreter's job and was hoping that his school was looking for one and they could hire me. And he didn't respond. It's probably illegal for him to even respond about that. So who knows?
Uh-huh.
So I'd be curious to hear everybody else's thought on that. So there you go. We'll wrap up the Easter one with, I'm going to send good thoughts and feelings to Ohtani and his interpreter, that his interpreter, much like Jesus, may rise again.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
Be able to save somebody else. Right?
Yeah. I don't see why not.
There you go.
Until next time, never shy away from the darkness or what may be lurking in the shadows. We are out.
God only knows what's hiding